We've already talked about the pandas series method map, which takes as input a function and then applies that function to every element in the series. There are a couple really similar methods for data frames, and so I want to go over those in this video. So let me show you as some motivation. I have a new data set here of Spotify data, and let me try to plot it using Altair, and we'll see that it doesn't work. So it's this like huge space. I don't know if you can see this scroll bar on the right-hand side, but it's this huge space, and we just get this like frowny face icon. So what does that come from? And let's see, maybe I'll try to clear this output just so it doesn't take up too much space in the notebook. So like, what caused this? Well, let's look at the data frame we were trying to plot from. So we wanted X to be energy and Y to be loudness. And so if we come over here, okay, those look like normal numeric columns, but if you look up here, you'll see that they're listed as object. Okay, or if you want a Python way to see that, that's more of a deep note way, what we just did, we can look at df.dtypes, and we'll see that almost everything in this data frame is an object, but they don't need to be. Like this one, of course, could be numeric. And just like there's the pandas function pd.toDateTime, there's also a pandas function pd.toNumeric. So let me show you that. So if we do pd.toNumeric, and then we input this energy column, okay, I get an error, and the error says unable to parse the string, okay, and then this empty space at position 35. And so the problem with this is that the missing values in this data set aren't denoted by an empty string, like without any length. Okay, they're denoted by this little length 1 string with a space in it, and pandas did not automatically convert those into missing values for us. So let me show you one way to make this change. And really the best way is up here. So better way would be to say NA values equals space. Okay, but let me show you another way just so we can see some options. So one way is we could say df.applyMap, and this is completely analogous to the map function or the map method for pandas series. The input is going to be a function, and this function is going to get applied to every element. So I could say, for example, lambda x, and then let's keep x exactly as it is. So we'll keep x as it is if x is not the empty space. Otherwise, let's put in a not a number value. And so I need to import numpy to get that not a number. And then we'll say else np.nan. Okay, and the fact that this printed out is a sign that the original data frame df did not change. Like if we try to do pd.toNumeric df energy, I should get the exact same error as before. And the fact that this displayed is a sign that this apply map has an output, okay, as opposed to changing df in place. So let me go ahead and change df. Okay, I don't think I'm allowed to do in place for this one, so I'll just say df equals this. Okay, and now if I try this pd.toNumeric, okay, now it seems to have worked, and now we get this float 64 as the dtype. If we check df.dtypes, okay, it did not change in df because, again, since something got displayed here, that is a hint that the change is not happening in place. Okay, it's just outputting this new series with it that's now numeric values inside of it. So if I really wanted to change, I'd have to do df energy equals this. Okay, but let me show you some other options first. So if we go back and look at the data frame, we'd like to make everything from this popularity all the way over to valence, including valence. We'd like to make those all numeric. So so let me show you how we can do that. Popularity to valence. Okay, valence means like positivity, I looked up. So let's say lcol for left column equals popularity. And you can see popularity is currently strings or some kind of object. I'm sure it's strings. And then rcol, we'll say that is valence. And if I want to get the subdata frame from popularity to valence, I can say df.loc, give me every row and give me from lcol to rcol. And let me just point out that this is one of the only examples I know in Python where the right endpoint is included. And so that's something specific to loc. It's not true for iloc, but with loc, if you say go up to valence, then the right endpoint gets included. Okay, and it sort of makes sense since they're often going to be strings, and like, what does it mean to go like 2 strings, but maybe left by 1? So anyway, at one point I convinced myself that this convention made sense of including the endpoint if you specify it with loc. But that is about the only time I know where that convention is followed in Python. So, okay, good. And so these all look, they're all objects, but they all look like they could become numeric. So let me go ahead and say this equals the same thing. And then let me apply. So we've seen map before for series. We've seen apply map for apply to every element. Here I'm going to apply to columns. And so the thing that's going to get changed potentially is the rows axis. So I'm going to say axis equals 0. And the thing I want to apply is this pd.toNumeric. Okay, that worked without error, so that's a good sign. And let me see if this Altair chart that I wanted to make, let me see if that now works. Okay, so the main change we made was we replaced the missing values with, or the blank spaces with np.nan, and then we made a bunch of columns numeric. So maybe before I try the plot, I'll check what are the d-types. So now you can see that a whole bunch of these from popularity to valence have become floats. And then let's see if the chart is now working. Yep, that's working well. And it's a little strange, like valence means positivity. So it's a little strange that blue is at the top and red is at the bottom. Sort of rather that be reversed. So let me go ahead and reverse that by saying reverse equals true. Okay, and now red is at the top and blue is at the bottom. Okay, and because of this tooltip, we can see like this song is by Taylor Swift called Closure. And so the only thing I want to say a little more about is when we did this apply a minute ago, I mean, I sort of went quickly through my justification for why it should be axis equals 0. Let me show you maybe a better example. So let's look at this df.loc just by itself for a second. Okay, so these are just some of the numeric columns. And if to this, so let me go ahead and keep that here. If to this I do dot sum axis equals 0, okay, here it is more clear what's happening. It is like taking the whole column and it is crushing it down. It's like adding it all up. And so all of these row labels are going to disappear and that whole axis is going to disappear. So because the rows axis, the axis equals 0 is changing, that is the justification for doing this axis equals 0. Okay, and so for example, this is like 108,000, I think, when we add up all of these popularities, if I added that right. And so what does that have to do with apply? Well, this I think is the better way, but let me show you another way. We could say dot apply, and I want to do the exact same thing, so better be the same axis keyword argument, better still be axis equals 0. And let's use a lambda function here. we'll say input is a column, but you could call it Z or whatever you want. Input is a column, and the output is going to be the sum of all the elements in that column. Okay, and so I hope that one made a little more sense. Like here the axis really is changing, unlike the PD.2 numeric where the axis did not change. But this is a justification for why when you do apply and you do axis equals 0, you are applying it along one full column at a time. Okay, and just to emphasize, could have done like Z and Z dot sum. Okay, yeah, that would have been fine. Another example is if I input the same, or if I load the data frame again from the beginning. So let me do it the incorrect way one more time. Okay, then I could have done df.replace, and then I want to replace blank space with np.nan, and this one can take an in-place argument. So I'll say in-place equals true. And notice how nothing is going to get printed out when I do this. Okay, and that is because this change is happening to df. There's no output to this replace method. Okay, so that worked. Or here is really the right way to do this. Once you know what the NA values are, the right way is to input this keyword argument, NA values, and then just say what they are. Okay, and now if I check what are the D types, okay, not only the ones we fixed up above, but also like at least one extra one got automatically converted correctly thanks to this NA values keyword argument. But the main thing I wanted you to get out of this video was what does apply do and what does apply map do. Okay, that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching.